What's been happening since the Grenfell fire? I think we were all very shocked when we woke up on the 14th of June 2017 to hear of a fire that was burning in London which subsequently killed 72 people, the worst fire that we'd seen since the Second World War. The government appointed Dame Judith Hackitt to start an inquiry into the building regulations and fire safety. Dame Judith Hackitt previously had been chair of the Health and Safety Executive. She produced a report which looked at the whole culture of fire safety in building design and new buildings, and came to the conclusion that we had a very prescriptive set of regulations supported by very detailed technical guidance, with large numbers of people engaged to game the system, as she said, and actually comply with the regulations in some way or other, rather than build a safe building. And one of the thrusts of her report was that actually we needed a complete change of culture about designing and building safe buildings, not just complying with a set of rules. What's been happening since is that one of the things that she didn't necessarily recommend was the banning of combustible cladding on the outside of buildings. And in fact, the government then moved promptly to ban combustible cladding on the outside of buildings. And since November, for all new buildings over 18 metres in height, where there's a residential component, something like a hospital or a school or high-rise building, combustible cladding has been banned. And the government has also tasked local authorities with enforcing on existing buildings where there's similar types of cladding to that at Grenfell, which is unsuitable. I think many organisations will think, well, we don't have high-rise residential buildings, how does this affect us? And I think the key issue is actually keeping the basics right. Many organisations can have extremely nasty fires and actually have undermined their fire precautions as they were undermined in Grenfell, not only with combustible cladding on the outside of the building, but actually failures of fire doors, failures of fire separation, drilling holes in firewalls, not training employees properly, etc. And I think it's very easy to be complacent on fire safety. For most organisations, it's something they never experience. They perhaps rehearse, they perhaps have fire drills, but the basics aren't always right. And I think it's important to note that at Grenfell, that tower had been built for 50, 60 years, and it was only when it was changed that it really became a fire disaster. It was only the addition of that cladding which caused the problem. And so when organisations go through change, when they change buildings, it's worth thinking, are we undermining the fire precautions? Even at a quite minor level, I know of an organisation that had an office, a subsidiary office, and had a new director. And the director was very keen on open plan offices and a no closed door policy. So he gave instructions to remove all the office doors. They happened to be fire doors, which actually destroyed the safety of the building. And it took quite a lot of persuasion to persuade him that the fire doors couldn't actually be removed.